Roger McGool is here at Strata, New York, 2018. I'm here with Rick Negrin, the Director of Product Management at MemSQL. Welcome. Yesterday at the keynote, you talked about technical convergence. I wonder what you mean by that.
Sure. So convergence is about taking specialized technologies and bringing them together into a single technology that serves all the same functions. So a great example of this is a cell phone. So it wasn't that long ago that we were all carrying multiple devices. A PDA to handle your contacts, email, and calendar, a cell phone to handle voice and texting, and a camera for taking photos. But as the modern smartphone has evolved, it was able to absorb all those functions, and now we can carry a single device, which most people would much prefer because it's easier to manage, easier to use, and do all those functions in one device. Mm-hmm. Now we see the same thing playing out in enterprise software, particularly in databases. Over the last several decades, there's been a number of new workloads that have popped up. In addition to sort of the traditional operational systems, there's now analytics systems, there's document databases, systems that do full-text search, in memory, and real-time. And there's been data stores that have come up to serve each of those functions. But as people try to build their apps now, there's sometimes 5 or 10 or even 15 different components of the systems. It's very difficult to stitch all that together and make it work effectively and efficiently and keep it up and running. And to train all your people in order to tune and optimize it. And so people are really looking for a single system that can do all of that workload to make it easier and simpler to build their application and meet their requirements. And that's what MemSQL is about. We're a general purpose database that can serve all of those workloads, greatly simplifying your infrastructure and how you train your people and allowing you to deliver on the requirements and SLA that you need.
Great. So yesterday you had brought up a company called Fanatics on stage. And they're clearly using MemSQL for their infrastructure. Is this something that you're seeing more often with your customers?
Absolutely. So if the Fanatics you can see on the screen, they were using about a dozen different open source technologies, trying to stitch them all together, trying to make it work. And they're just suffering a lot of difficulty in keeping the thing up and running and getting it tuned and optimized. And by moving MemSQL, it greatly simplified their architecture, drove down their costs, and simplified the training they had to do for their people. And we're seeing that pattern play out over and over again in a number of our customers.
Mm-hmm. So since Strata San Jose, which seems like it was a long time ago, but really wasn't that long time ago, you announced your Series D funding. How are things going for the company in general?
It was a great round. We raised $30 million from Google Ventures, as well as Glen Capital and several of our previous investors. It just really speaks to the potential they see in the growth of the database market and the promise of MemSQL.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So more recently, you announced the new version of your product, MemSQL 6.5. Tell me about it. What kind of features does it have?
Yeah, so this latest version is by far the most powerful and most stable of the releases that we've done so far. Primarily, we're focused on simplifying the management operations and driving down the time to insight. That's the amount of time it takes for data to be born to the time you're able to pull it out of the database and get value from it. And we did this by adding a number of features around workload optimization and around pipelines, which is our feature to bring and load data into the system, making it easier and simpler to bring that data in fast and get it into the right spot, as well as adding support for full-text search, so rounding out the set of data types that we support, as well as a number of performance enhancements, which we do in every release.
Mm-hmm. So your messaging now says no limits databases. You know, what do you mean? How does that relate to what you're trying to offer?
Yeah. So it's all about helping customers break through the limitations that they're experiencing with their existing data stores. And it's dimensioned across a number of dimensions, whether it's about how fast the data is coming in, how fast they can query it coming out, how many number of users they're trying to scale in the system, where they want to deploy it. Wherever they're getting stuck, wherever they're getting bottlenecked, we're building MemSQL to help break through those bottlenecks and allow them to meet their requirements and their SLAs.
Mm-hmm. So knowing the kind of capabilities of in-memory databases, there's a lot of things going on just in the world in general, MLAI, things being more distributed, and so forth. What do you see coming down the pike?
So I see there's a number of kinds of things. Obviously, AI and ML is the most recent one to come up, and more people I think are getting involved in that. It's a tough thing to understand, and so people are still trying to get their heads around it. And they're looking for systems that can support it naturally without them having to understand all the intricate details. So being able to support more libraries and functions to make it easier for people to make use of that is going to be an obvious one. But we also see this convergence of analytics and transactions as one of the places that we're evolving towards, where people will be able to do more of that in one system rather than having to have data in one operational system, move it over here to do the analytics over there.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for the interview and spending time with us.
Thank you.